race callers every step of the race. And as far as the race result goes,
yeah.
I mean, what a story, but a shame for Steve Asmussen not to get a Derby.
Yeah, Texas' favorite son, Steve Asmussen. He's won everything on the planet. It's hard to feel sorry for a guy who's done so great in his career, but that's a tough beat. He sent over probably the best horse. He ran a terrific race and still got beaten. The winner doesn't make a lot of sense, but like all handicappers, you really need to, and I did myself. I looked at what Rich Strike had done before, and his only glimpse was just that maiden win at Churchill, which was very impressive for a maiden claimer. Obviously, really likes Churchill, but honestly, I mean, it was a stretch.
Yeah, it really was, but nonetheless, we hope you enjoyed your Derby day. Now, we've got 10 good ones today, so let's get right on to it. I call this first race the Battle of the Oaklawn Also-Rans, because we've got some horses, Pall Mall Amos and Hell of a Life specifically, coming in off of an also-ran performance in the same race at Hot Springs. These are non-winners of two claimers in for a mile run.
Yeah, and track class does matter. I mean, Hell of a Life, who I made 9 to 5. That's what he is at the moment. I mean, he's finished second twice at Fairgrounds. Then most recent race last month, going a mile and an eighth at Oaklawn was 40th place. Once he got in some traffic trouble going into the final turn, he just backed plumb out of the race. But again, based on the company he's kept, I got to give him the edge for Broberg and Eichelberry, who's having they're off to a great start, as you would expect. The 6, Pall Mall Amos, for trainer Steve Asmussen, actually comes out of the exact same race as Hell of a Life, and he did finish in front of him. Didn't have quite as an eventful trip, and I don't think he has quite as good of early speed either. Therefore, I went for the Broberg horse over the Asmussen horse. And then the 3, Istan Warrior. He's had good form at Houston, running at this same non-winners of 2 condition, going this distance. He's always showing forwardly placed early route speed. He's been in the money in 2 of his last 3 races on the main. He's got a turf race that kind of muddies up his form a little bit for trainer Terry Oaf.
You know, I'm with you there. I watched Hell of a Life's race at Hot Springs, watched it on the tower camera too. He had very weird action up the backstretch. I don't know if he was fighting Luis Contreras or if he was trying to lug in. But he had some really odd action up the backstretch, and I think he might have been trying to lug in for quite a ways in that race. But, you know, he was steady, it mentions here, at the 7/16 around the half-mile marker, and then he just backed right out of it. Maybe if he gets a smoother trip today, he might win. I love the fact he's come back and worked, even though he twice in a row has worked the slowest of all in the morning, but Broberg doesn't typically, fire out the fastest work. So I'm going 4-6-2. Dallas Gold is interesting to me. If these 2 favorites who have had quite a few chances to get that elusive second win, if they fall, Dallas Gold broke his maiden 2 starts back at Houston, ran a 48, which puts him in the ballpark with the 4 and the 6 if they flop. And then he came back in a spot that was probably too tough for him and just kind of, ran around there. King Jingling, who's in later today, won that race. Now he drops back to a more reasonable level, stretches back out to 2 turns. He'd be my interesting horse to keep an eye on if the top 2 falter. Second race. A filly and mare allowance. A lot of different ways you can get into this one. You can be a non-winners of 4. You can be a non-winner of 2 other than, and there goes my PPs. But they're going 1 mile. Thankfully, that was a page where only my 4th pick is involved, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah, on class, optionality deserves to be the 7 to 5 on the morning line. This horse won 3 consecutive races over the winter, 2 of them stakes, 1 at Remington Park by 8, the other, the Zia Princess at Zia Park, obviously, by 6. Shipped Oaklawn, run to Martha Washington, and finished second behind Secret Oath, who, as we all know, gone on to win a graded stake at Oaklawn, then won the Kentucky Oaks this past weekend. So finishing second to her is a huge credential. The last 3 races for her, too, also were without LASIK. She's back on bleeder medication LASIK, so optionality, just off the company she kept, deserves favoritism in here. Fashion Rage is an interesting horse for sure. Has won back-to-back sprint races at Houston, earning buyer speed figures, that put her in the hunt with optionality. My question here is she more of a sprinter, or is she going to be able to carry her speed? Her only try around 2 turns was last year at Lone Star after a really nice sprint win. And so, again, on buyers, sharp sprint form, trainer Brett Calhoun, a lot to like with Fashion Rage. And then we'll go to Last Chance for Love, another Calhoun trainee in here. Last time out, finished third in allowance race at Houston, sprinting. This horse has yet to try 2 turns, but again, has tactical sprinter speed, and I think stands a chance if she'll route. And certainly on the female side of her pedigree, she's certainly bred to. So let's go with optionality is, I think, a pretty obvious choice here in the second.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and I'm sorry, I was trying to find my missing past performance page. Did you mention the Lasix factor?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think maybe that's the trick. But, remember last week we talked about the Sunland Park Oaks, and I said, well, Asmussen sent the favorite down there with Rosario. Well, this was it. She didn't run much. I said, well, if they put up 300,000 for a race, it must be pretty good. I'm going to officially amend that comment. I don't think that was a very good race at all. No offense to optionality, but Ali, the runner-up, was 0 for 5. The third-place finisher, did you go over this already?
No, I did not.
Manarelli, the third-place finisher, broke her maiden as the longest shot in a 4-horse field at Santa Anita. So take that for what it's worth. And then optionality, ran kind of an even 5th. So maybe that race, the purse, I think, was a little over-generous.
Yes.
But nonetheless, I still like her in this spot, nonetheless, over Unburnt and Fashion Rage. So we're very similar in that one. Third race. 5 Ace on turf. This is a really good race. This is a filly and mare optional claimer, non-winners of 2 this year.
And I'm a big believer in the horse for course, and that's certainly quick. 3 for 5 wins on our turf course here at Lone Star Park. 5 for 12, an exceptionally good record in turf sprint races for trainer J.R. Caldwell. Just to add to it, J.R. Caldwell is our leading trainer right now, off to a phenomenal start on win percentage. So quick is certainly the one to beat. My second pick is Tiz Magic, who was very game, beating Quick by a head at Houston. She's only run twice in turf here at Lone Star Park, and once again was a nice condition claiming winner last summer. So obviously she likes our turf course. And then we'll go to the 3, and here's where, I got to throw Equibase a little bit under the bus. I was trying to figure out how this horse had pace figures weren't the best in the field, and then I realized this horse has to be a very poor pace figure at Fairgrounds. They went 22-4, which seems a little slow. 48-1, and then 59-3. That's impossible.
And just to make it clear, you're talking about Cherokee Cowgirl, the 2 here.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying the pace?
The pace is way slow. I bet it's 2 full lengths slow. That's why, the time form pace figure is only a 98. You look at Elstown, who also turf sprinted at Fairgrounds, and you can see the opening quarters are a little bit faster, but the half splits are way faster than Cherokee Cowgirl ran. That's got to be a very inaccurate half-mile split. So Cherokee Cowgirl, I think I would have picked her second if the pace figures would have made sense to me. She's extremely fast. She's taking that important turn back, Jim, from 5.5 to 5.
There you go.
And you can see it. She opens up, and then she's all out to hold on. On our turf course at 5/8 of a mile, she's very dangerous. And again, I think I would have made her my second choice if I'd have had good pace information.
Yeah, I used her third as well. I kind of turned this one upside down a little bit. I'm going with Elstown, the 5. She has run pretty well fresh before. She has a really fast gate work for Broberg. She's not the horse for course that Quick is, but she was also, I think, rather dramatically overmatched this spring at Fairgrounds in each of her last 3 races. You could argue that she really isn't much of a stake filly, but she's pretty good when she gets into, this type of company. I have a feeling she may pop up and be a decent Broberg paying winner here. I'm going to go with her over Quick, only for two reasons. One, I might be inventing in my head. The other, I think, is legit. While Quick loves this course, she is a bit of an in and outer. She did win 2 in a row at Remington, and she had a good meet here last year. But she's a little bit of an in and outer. And the question I have is, why would Caldwell put her in for a tag, albeit a very expensive tag, when she is eligible for the non-winners of 2 races in 2022 condition? I don't quite understand that. I don't think anyone's going to pony up $75,000 for her, but she's a really nice mare, and she's won almost $400,000, but she is 7 years old. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe I'm trying to find a reason to get a little bit better price on Elstown, but I'm going to take her over Quick.
Yeah, and Cherokee Cowgirl will probably end up winning the race.
That's
they both
possible.
like something else.
Exactly.
But that's why it's important to have good information. So you can see I'm stewing a little bit because as a handicapper, we need accurate information. When you don't have it, you're handicapping. It's just not a good situation.
Yeah. On we go to the 4th, scratch number 3, Picking Up Strangers from race 4. No super here. These are all 3-year-olds. It's not written for 3-year-olds, but they are, in fact, all 3-year-olds. And they're going 1 mile.
Yeah, and I picked the 6. Now we got to show as my best long shot. And I picked this horse before the Derby in case people are thinking, hey, this is a Keen Ice who was bred by Calumet, just like the Kentucky Derby winner. So maybe this is a good sign. But anyway, when you drop from a maiden special weight to a bottom level maiden claimer, I mean it's such a huge drop in class. Not only was this maiden special weight race a decent one, but the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finishers all came back to win their very next race. You can point to the 29 buyer figure, but that's actually makes him pretty competitive in this field.
Sure.
I think
the 53 buyer par is wishful thinking.
That's wishful thinking. So this looked like a race you had to try to take a shot. And I know sometimes there's races that I should take a shot and I don't. But this one I pretty much had to. And Sean Davis is a very good trainer. This seems like a perfect spot. The one horse, Look Who Got Lucky, it's Asmussen, so you're going to have to take a little bit of a short price. Has the 2 best buyer figures that anyone has earned in this field, hence the favoritism. One was at Remington, one was at Keeneland. So the best buyers, good inside post, stretching out to a mile, which appears to be his best distance. So, there's a reason to believe he'll go favorite and maybe win too. Russet Moon scratched yesterday for this spot. Last time out at a mile, first time going around 2 turns at Houston. Battled for the lead from start to finish, finishing, beaten by 5 lengths, but still a 2nd place finish. So, you got to pick something in here. This is a tough race.
Yeah, it really is. And this is a race where all meet. I've been trying to beat favorites. I tried to beat some yesterday to my detriment, but I'm sticking with the favorite here. I'm not wild about Asmussens that come over from Louisiana Downs, although they do pop up and win. But I don't know. I went with Look Who Got Lucky here. This horse was a $115,000 yearling, and I did look up the dam, Ambleside Park. She was a stakes winner, so I thought, how about that? Now, she was 1 for 17. Her lone win came in the Fantasy, not the Fantasy from Oaklawn that we all know about, the Fantasy at Hastings Park in Vancouver, which is oddly enough a track that I've been to. It's a bull ring. So I don't know. I'm going with Look Who Got Lucky over True Dakotan as my 2nd pick. Not proving out to be one of Matt Hebert's best claims ever, but nonetheless, I think he could get a shot in here. I wasn't as high on Now We Got a Show, but I don't know. I do very much fear your best long shot picks.
Yeah, my Kentucky Derby link in.
There you go.
That's huge today. It wasn't yesterday.
Exactly.
But it's huge today.
Well, 5th race. First level allowance here at a mile and 1/16.
Yeah, Silver Galaxy. This is a very tough race. I didn't want to make anybody the favorite, but someone's going to go favored. Silver Galaxy has the advantage of racing at fairgrounds where finished second in a pretty nice field. They went very fast that day when he was in that optional claimer, restricted Louisiana breds. Moves from Joseph Foster's barn, who does a fine job, into red-hot J.R. Caldwell's barn. That was enough for me. The 5 horse in here, Close to Midnight, for Frank Lucarelli. Kind of a snake-bit horse. He's finished second in 3 consecutive races, which it doesn't bother me because the horse raced and won here at Lone Star Park, won back-to-back races, as a matter of fact. So the fact he's in such good form, maybe he prefers this surface over the one at Houston, and Lucarelli is off to a good start himself. And then the 6, Can I Have That, for trainer Carl Broberg. This is Broberg off the claim. 2 wins in a row before finishing second last time out. Those were in condition claiming races. However, they were in New Orleans at fairgrounds. The buyer figures certainly stack up well. So if Carl can move this horse up, then certainly wins this race.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him second, actually, here. Has been claimed 4 times out. I think that's kind of interesting. Now Broberg can go to work on this horse. I went with Close to Midnight, not a very imaginative pick, but he's a pretty hard knocker. It scares me that Otto the Legend, the horse that beat him last time, came back and flopped.
He did.
On Sunday.
Yep.
You know, when he was he ran third, but he was highly anticipated.
He should have won.
So that worries me, but I went 5-6-2.
Mm-hmm.
On to the 6th. No super on the 6th race because we had a scratch of the 6 Carbon Striker. These are Texas breds, and they're all older horses in this one. It's written for 3-year-olds and up, but they all happen to draw in all olders, and they're going 6.5.
Yeah, and Sunday Bling should like 6.5. He won by, he beat entry-level allowance state breds at Houston in his first start of 2022, and it was drawn off at the end. Then he caught a muddy track in a second-place route finish. Last time out, ran in the Star of Texas. Once again, was forwardly placed for 6.5 furlongs before tiring. He was entered to run Friday here at Lone Star Park, was scratched out of that race, and now I am right about that, aren't I?
Are you taking Sunday Bling on top?
Oh, I'm picking him. I'm talking about my third pick.
Okay.
I must really like this third choice.
No problem.
But
I
anyway,
thought maybe you called an audible here at the line of scrimmage.
Peyton Manning.
Exactly.
But no, I'm no Peyton Manning.
Okay, so you're making a very convincing case for Sunday Bling, but he is your third pick?
He is my third pick. So anyway, on the turn back, the scratch. I always like when a horse enters in 2, scratch out of 1. That's generally a good sign. The 5 Affluent Gentleman. This is actually my top selection. Won back-to-back races, over the fall and winter. I like that. When he competes in open company, optional claimers like he did at Houston twice sprinting, he was very competitive, earned a huge buyer figure, 2 dirt starts back. So I think Ronnie Cravens, this horse should be forwardly placed, and I like the outside field of 5 being in the 5-hole. That's probably a good thing. And then the 3, KC Tismoro, another J.R. Caldwell horse that's very live. Finished second last time out behind the horse Mr. Moneybags we talked about yesterday, who's just a stake-winning machine among Texas breds. Back-to-back second-place finishes, and he is a 2-time winner at Lone Star.
Yeah, I think he's pretty dangerous. It's just a matter with him, I think, if he can. That was a career best buyer. If he can come right back and fire that kind of a race again. If he can, he probably wins. I'm going to take a shot with the 2 Dustum in here. He's just been lighting up training hours at Bossier City. I mean, he is the king of Bossier City training, at least over his last 2 works. I mean, there haven't been a lot of workers that day, but he's been working well. And he ran a really nice 5th. Wasn't it Gold Pilot yesterday that won that Oklahoma-Texas showdown with that good Oklahoma bred?
Yep.
So he was flattered by that. Algebra's really tough. He just beat Mr. Moneybags in that match race here last week. Dustum seems to like this track. I'm going to take a shot with him. And Valdez Jimenez has been riding well at the start of this meet. I'm going to take a shot with him over KC Tismoro and Affluent Gentleman. That is a really wide open race, though. I mean, even when my original 4th pick scratched, I had to think about Sunday Bling or Wits Taquito, who I wanted to use for 4th. So now we've got a video, or a movie, as sometimes is discussed in racing terminology. We've got a movie here about this race. It's going to be my top pick, who is going to be the 3 American Nightmare. Now, the race we're going to watch is from opening night. We're going to take it from the start, take it up the backstretch. Watch the horse in the Lime Silks, number 12. We're going to watch him for a while here. American Nightmare. He gets out okay. He's in the solid Lime Silks. He's number 12. Now, Iram Diego is going to look for a spot to drop him in, and he's going to get in all kinds of issues. Right here, he's checking him. I'm not really sure what's going on. Right in here, he's right on horse's heels.
He flipped heels there.
He's had to steady off horse's heels. Now, if we can run at full speed for a bit, he's going to settle down. Now, watch this move he makes. He's about mid-pack in the lime green with the blinkers. He shows some real talent here. I think he might have just run off with Diego at this point. I mean, Diego had all kinds of trouble at the clubhouse turn trying to get this horse to settle. Now he's making this big, giant move in a race that now they're just going up the backstretch. He's poked his head into second, and he's chasing this horse up the backstretch here. Cairo Warrior, who was 2-1 and the favorite in the race. And American Nightmare, to this point, as they get into the far turn, is kind of running, he's kind of run his race to this point. He's still fairly competitive to the far turn. He's going to end up backing out of this. Cairo Warrior is going to go on and win this. You can see American Nightmare is losing contact right now, and he will wind up running 9th out of 11 in this race. So the thing I liked about that, Rick, was certainly not the last quarter mile, but all that trouble at the clubhouse turn and then a big rally up the backstretch. He switches riders to Valdez Jimenez. Now, I love Iram Diego, and I'm not saying it was Iram's fault that I think he had all that trouble running up on horse's heels. But you try a different hand on him today. I'm going to give him a shot. He's 9-2 on the line. I'm taking him over Pawpaw's Boy and Quiet Prayer.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting race because his best turf race, American Nightmare, we're talking about, I mean, was from well off of the pace, and perhaps Iram thought he had to wrestle him back, but the horse didn't want to be wrestled back, it didn't look like to me, and therefore he had to steady, and he was rank, and eventually you just have to let him go, and yeah, that's a good video clip there. I mean, it really shows why you watch replays. The 2 in here, Pawpaw's Boy, is my pick, just based on the way he was running last year at Lone Star Park. Very competitive in state-bred allowance races. All those races are good enough to win today, I believe. Then he was off, for 5-6 months and returned at Houston in a allowance field. For some reason, blinkers came off that day, and they're not back on today, which I really was hoping this horse would be blinkers on today. But nevertheless, just off his races from last year, he's my top choice. The 5, Quiet Prayer, who has the advantage of having raced at fairgrounds and very strong, condition claiming races there. As you can tell by the Buyers, even though he finished 6th, his Buyer figure's extremely competitive. And then the 6 for Govea, the other Govea horse. Jim's got American Nightmare. This is Veterans Holiday, who was claimed last time out. Off a dirt race, but his last 2 dirt races were awful, so I actually give him an excuse. His previous turf races look pretty good, including a nice win at Remington Park in September, and at the distance he's been good, and in 3 turf starts at Lone Star Park, he's a 2-time runner-up, so I do think he likes this course.
Yep. Let's proceed to the 8th race. I feel like we're at Hot Springs momentarily when I see a amazing Destiny horse in here. You see the name Amazing on a lot of those Arkansas-bred races at Oaklawn Park. $10,000 claiming non-winners of 3 in race number 8, going 8 1/2 furlongs.
Yeah, King Jingling going 1 mile and a 16th after a 6-furlong sprint. If that looks familiar, it should in his past performances. He started his career with a sprint, did not run well, went sprint to route for J.R. Caldwell at that time, and then he wins at a big price, 14-1. Moving forward, a really nice sprint win at Houston March 16th, was probably overmatched in his next sprint start against open allowance rivals. Now drops into a condition claimer, goes sprint to route. I expect he'll be close to the lead from start to finish. The 7, Gordon Anthony for Broberg. This is a Broberg claim. He did claim this horse from a good and winning stable, so generally you don't expect much improvement, if any, but was beaten only a neck at this exact same condition. That was a turf race, but his dirt record's good, having been in the exact in 4 of 11. He, too, has good speed and, again, powerful connections. And then I did go with Amazing Wisdom up there, an Arkansas bred who did run against open condition claimers last time out at Oaklawn Park. His buyer figures certainly are competitive in this spot, and he should get a ground-saving trip.
Yeah, I'm the same on the top two. My third pick is the 3 Delirium. Just taking a little bit of a shot for Ernesto Torres there. Hasn't been out since April 1st. I didn't write any other notes about him. I just have a feeling that, he might like the smile in the 16th distance, and he stretches back out after a couple of sprints. So I threw him in as a third pick. On to the 9th. Scratch number 5, Flying Sexy, who was your original top pick. And this horse, however, will have to sit this one out. Texas bred, 20,000 claimers, non-winners of 2, and they are going 6.5.
Yeah, it's always disappointing when you pick an 8-1 and they scratch. It's like, oh, man. I've now got the 2 Grammy's Boy for Mindy Willis. Won a maiden $25,000 race last time by 3 1/2 lengths. Showed, good early speed in that maiden win at Houston. Since then, has had a couple nice subsequent breezes here at Lone Star Park. Picks up one of our high percentage riders. So I'm going to take Mindy Willis to repeat. The 3 First Bump Ridge for Kotara is my next selection. Just comes off a really nice second place finish at Houston, sprinting 7. This is a 6 1/2 furlong race. This horse shows really good late run. You can see at 6 1/2 furlongs in January at Houston at this same non-winners of 2 condition. Did finish up well to be third best. Just looks like he's in really good form and taking a slight drop in price. The 6 Texan Boy, the other Kotara horse in here. Good record at Lone Star Park, 1 for 12, but here at Lone Star, out of 4 tries, a first, a second, and 1/3 also. Broke his maiden in the maiden special weight race here last summer and comes into the race again with a race over the track, having run here on opening weekend.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really nice race, too, on opening weekend. I've got Texan Boy second behind Grammy's Boy. I really like Grammy's Boy in here. He was racing on his inside lead last time. He was, 1-10 in that race at Houston on March 23rd, which is kind of scary. I mean, it indicates that maybe that field wasn't very well stocked, but nonetheless. And it's also interesting that Elliott is choosing to ride Ghoster for Steve Asmussen. And here, I guess it's not that unusual, but Elliott does ride a lot for Mindy Willis. And that caused me to raise an eyebrow, but nonetheless, I'm on Grammy's Boy over Texan Boy in First Bump Ridge. I did use Ghoster fourth. I noticed, neither of us really like Ghoster all that much, and he has been, in my opinion, kind of a money burner, but we might be putting Steve right back into the winner's circle by ignoring him here. On to the 10th, the 10th and final. Scratch the 2 Bling Mountain, who, believe it or not, was my 4th pick in this race. 7.5 on turf, Texas bred allowance runners.
Yeah, and some races just, they say, handicap themselves. The top 2 choices, Big One, Silver Look Silver, ran against each other last time. Big One finished second that day. That was a nice turf race at a mile. That was also, he was a 2-1 favorite there. His previous turf race at Houston, which came off a very long layoff, he also finished second. Draws a really nice inside post position. Again, off 2 recent 2-turn second place finishes. He's the one to beat. Silver Look Silver, cross the wire just 1 position behind Big One. Last time they faced off April 9th. He does seem to have a little bit more early speed. It's just when you look at his career record, boy, you see more shows and places and more places than wins. So it's kind of inverse of what you'd like to see. Yeah. But
he's backloaded with show finishes.
He is. But he's a must-use in your exacted tries and supers because he likes to be competitive, and yet he doesn't win very often, but he does win. And then the 8, John Doe, has not raced since July for trainer Asmussen, but he did fire fresh last year at Houston following, which was a pretty long layoff then. If you look at his races at Lone Star last year, they're very competitive with what it would take to win today. Workouts are, how do you tell? I mean, it's really hard to tell. But you can take some solace in the fact Asmussen's pretty good, 19% with horses coming off a really long layoff. That's not that's comparable to what his record is overall.
Yeah. And, you know, with Steve, I've always looked more at and with anybody really, the work pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I like a steady pattern, and he's definitely been in steady training since the middle of March. I've got John Doe second, actually, behind Big One. So I'm going with the Asmussen Exacta, and I've got Silver Luke Silver third. The horse he ran into last time sprinting, Axel Steele, was just a freak out that day and just ran off the screen by almost 10 lengths. But so I'm going 1-8-5 in this one. And my old friend King Congo, who I think I showed video on maybe twice last year and kept trying to get to the winner's circle, he's back in here. I used him fourth because I just, you know, if he does pop up and win, I don't want to leave him out.
No, you don't leave him out. Gustafson's going to have a great meet. I know he will. So
he's already off to a pretty good start.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, happy Mother's Day once again.
Exactly.
I know you will be heading back to your homestead, and we'll do it all again next week. We got a 4-day week of racing coming up.
That's right.
And good luck today.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck to you.
Thanks a lot for looking in. We have a lot coming up here on Sunday at Lone Star Park. Good luck.